What secret will you never tell your parents? When I was 15, my parents went through this really nasty divorce. Dad moved out in March, and Mom was working double shifts at the hospital to keep up with the mortgage payments. She'd leave at 6 a.m. and wouldn't get home until after 11 p.m. most nights. That left me basically raising my little sister Amy, who was only 8 at the time. I'd get her ready for school, pack her lunches, help with homework, the whole thing. Mom would always say how proud she was that I was being such a responsible big brother. But here's what they don't know. About 3 months into this routine, I started getting really overwhelmed. I was basically a single parent at 15 while trying to keep my own grades up and deal with my parents' messy custody battle. That's when I met this guy Derek at the skate park. He was maybe 22, had his own apartment, and seemed to have money for everything. Nice car, expensive clothes, always buying food for whoever was hanging around. Derek started paying attention to me when I mentioned my situation at home. Said he understood what it was like to grow up fast and take care of family. He'd give me 20 bucks here and there, said it was just to help out with groceries for Amy. At first it seemed innocent. He'd text me asking how things were going if I needed anything. Sometimes he'd show up at school during lunch with McDonald's for me and my friends. Everyone thought he was cool because he was older and treated us like adults. But then Derek started asking me to do small favors. Nothing big, just drop off a backpack to his friend Marcus across town, or pick up an envelope from some guy at the mall and bring it to him. He'd pay me $50 each time. I knew something was off, but $50 meant I could buy Amy new shoes when hers got too small. It meant we could eat something other than ramen and peanut butter sandwiches for a week. The favors got bigger. Derek would have me meet people in parking lots, always different locations. I'd hand over whatever he gave me, take whatever they gave me back, and drive away. No questions asked, he always said. I started carrying a phone Derek gave me separate from my regular phone. He said it was just for business and that I should never answer it around family or at school. The money kept getting better too. $100 for a quick drive, $200 for weekend jobs. By winter, I was making more money than my mom was at the hospital. I told her I got a part-time job at the hardware store downtown. She was so proud of me for being responsible and helping the family. What she didn't know was that I was dealing drugs for Derek. Nothing crazy, mostly just weed and some pills to college kids and people in their 20s. Derek always said I was perfect for it because cops don't suspect kids and parents don't ask questions when you're already known as the responsible one. The worst part was how good I got at lying. I'd look my mom right in the face and tell her about my fake job, make up stories about stocking shelves and helping customers. I even learned the names of actual employees there in case she ever called to check up on me. Amy knew something was different but couldn't figure out what. I'd suddenly have money for things we needed, but I'd make up stories about finding cash or getting tips from my pretend job. This went on for almost a year. I was bringing home probably $1,500 a month, which was insane money for a 16-year-old. We were eating better, Amy had nice clothes for school, and I was even putting money aside for college. But I was also carrying around this constant fear. Every time my phone buzzed, every knock at the door, every time someone at school looked at me wrong, I thought I was about to get caught. The worst moment was when Derek started introducing me to harder stuff. Said there was more money in it, but the risks were bigger too. He wanted me to start carrying cocaine and some other things I didn't even recognize. That's when I finally realized how deep I was in. I wasn't just some kid helping out a friend. I was a drug dealer, a real one, with real consequences if I got caught. I started having panic attacks at night, couldn't sleep, kept imagining getting arrested and having to explain to my mom that her responsible son had been selling drugs to pay for groceries. One night I was lying in bed listening to Amy sleep in the next room and I just broke down. Here I was destroying my entire future to take care of my little sister, but what would happen to her if I got arrested? She'd end up in foster care while mom worked and dad drank himself stupid in his new apartment. I made the hardest decision of my life. I told Derek I was done. Said my parents were getting suspicious and I couldn't risk it anymore. He wasn't happy about it, but he didn't try to stop me either. Said I was smart to know when to walk away. Getting out was terrifying because I had to go back to being broke. Suddenly I couldn't afford the things we'd gotten used to. I had to tell my mom that my hours got cut at the fake hardware store job, but slowly things got better. Mom's financial situation improved. Dad started paying child support more regularly. I got an actual part-time job at a grocery store making minimum wage, which felt like nothing compared to what I was making before. The crazy part is that my parents still have no idea. They think I went through a responsible phase where I helped hold the family together during their divorce. Mom still brags to people about how mature I was during that difficult time. They'll never know that their mature, responsible son was actually a drug dealer who lied to them every single day for almost a year. They'll never know that the money that kept us fed and housed came from selling cocaine to college students. 7 years later, and I still wake up sometimes in cold sweats thinking about what could have happened if I gotten caught. But I also know that if the same situation happened again tomorrow, I'd probably make the same choice to protect my family, even if it meant breaking the law. That's the secret I'll never tell them. Not because I'm ashamed of protecting Amy, but because it would destroy them to know how close we came to losing everything because their divorce left a 15-year-old kid to figure out how to survive on his own.